Good morning, fifth grade online learners. Welcome to Tuesday, November 3rd. And we will continue our discussion today about building up the Earth's surface. Now, yesterday, somebody mentioned that we don't have a lot of vocabulary words, a lot of words in yellow. And sometimes that happens, but there's still some key terms that you should know. The only vocabulary word is deposition. Deposition is the dropping or releasing of sediments. You can hold on. You can walk through if you need to. We just have somebody coming to get a book. Walk right past it. They'll see it. It's no big deal. We're making a recording, but it's okay. Oh, that's your desk? Okay, let me just move the computer for 1 second. Okay, so deposition is the dropping or releasing of sediments that have been moved from one place to another. That doesn't happen all the time. Somebody coming for their stuff and I'm using the desk. Sand is the sediment made from rocks or shells that have been ground into fine grains. And we all talked about going to the beach and maybe your first time at the beach and your experience going in the sand. And somebody realized, I forget who it was, that sand is made from ground up bits of rocks and shells. Who realized that in here? Or was it the other class?
I already knew that.
How many people knew that? You know what, guys, for being a science teacher, I should know that, but I did not know that until I started teaching this lesson. I just wondered, where'd all the sand come from? But it makes sense. And think about all the rocks and shells that would have to be ground up to make all that sand. That's a lot. And it's a gradual process. It takes time. Caroline.
But sometimes, like when you're at the beach and you're by the ocean, sand is really weird and it's
Why is the sand really weird when you're at the ocean?
I don't know.
Well, I shared with either you or the other class that my son, first time we took him to the beach, he wouldn't even put his feet in the sand. So it's a different kind of feeling.
I hate the sand.
And now you can't get him out of the sand. We go to the beach, he rolls around in it, he jumps in the ocean. Of course, he's 20 years old now, but I still remember when he was 1 year old. Yeah, we would have took him when he was almost 1, because his birthday is August 29th. So we wouldn't have taken him until the following summer, and he did not even want to put his feet in the sand. On the next page, we talked about the alluvial fan and that river that kind of winds around, and as it does it, it drops off sediment on the inside of the curves. And we call that a meander, because if you're meandering and you're walking, you're kind of just walking like this. But if you're a river and you're meandering, you are just kind of swerving around like a snake would. And that carves out different paths through that area. And I was able to see that from an airplane once, how a river meanders. And I thought, boy, this is amazing. It's in my book, and now I'm seeing it for real. And to me, I was impressed with it. On the next page, we talked about pushing up the Earth's surface, and we talked about volcanoes. And some volcanoes are just tall mountains underneath the ocean floor. And as the lava comes out and builds up land, eventually it pokes its head above the ocean. And if that lava keeps flowing, eventually you're going to have an island. And Hawaii, from what I'm told, are very beautiful islands. They are also volcanoes. Now, so some of them are active, some are not active. But my friends, has anybody in here been to Hawaii? Caroline, you've been there?
My parents have, and I've seen photos.
Yeah, your parents have. I've never been there, but I've been told it's very expensive to go there because you have to fly from Pittsburgh all the way to California, and you might have to stop somewhere in between and get on another plane that's not going that far. But eventually you get to California, then you have to get on another plane and probably go another 4 hours to Hawaii. But everybody tells me how much it's worth it. It's just, can you imagine maybe 3 plane rides and maybe at least 1 hotel stay before you even get to Hawaii? So you have all that expense just to get there, and then when you get there, I'm told it's very expensive. But if you keep in mind, I have this amount of money and I'm going to go to Hawaii, it's going to be beautiful. And to think it was made from volcanoes, You can even drive up around and see where some of them are still active from a distance. It might be something to see. Yes?
My mom said she wanted to go to Hawaii this year.
She did. I had a bunch of friends going to Hawaii last year, and then Corona hit, and they had to cancel their trip. Addison.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be maybe going to the Florida Key West. Is that volcanoes?
It's really boring there.
Oh,
There's like barely a beach.
Florida Key West, is that volcanoes? I don't think so. I don't, not to my knowledge. I've never been there. And there are islands, but not every island is a volcano. Okay, maybe they were formed some other way. All right, let's save some of our comments for the and questions for the end because I want to finish for our online learners. We also talked about some of the mountains and how they form. And so that if you don't have your book, that's okay. You just follow your study guide, but your book does tell a good story. And then we also talked about glaciers. And one of the things I mentioned was Lake Tahoe being 1,600 feet above the ocean where the coast is, so above sea level. And then it's that far up in the mountains, and then it's 1,600 feet deep. So imagine how big that glacier must have been to carve through those mountains, melt, and create a lake that deep. It's amazing. And something I wouldn't mind seeing someday, I don't think. Okay, maybe on my way to Hawaii, I'll stop in Lake Tahoe. Who knows? Who am I kidding? I rarely get past Cleveland. All right, so today's website, let me just do a time check, and our video is still running. Can I borrow someone's computer? Joey had her hand up first. Thank you, Joey. She has very nice orange painted fingernails today. My daughter would love that. She loves getting her nails done. Her and her mom always got to get her nails done. Okay, Earth's movement and processes. This is our website today, building up the Earth's surface. Here's the first paragraph. Have you seen waves gently lapping at a sandy beach? Waves are part of the reason that beaches have sand. Ocean waves and currents drop sand on a beach in a process called deposition. Deposition is the dropping or releasing of sediments that have been moved from one place to another. Sand is the sediment made from rocks or shells that have been ground up into fine grains. Thank you, Joey. Now, if you keep reading that page, there's a lot more to summarize. And if you want to, you don't have to summarize the first paragraph. You can go down 2 or 3 or 4 paragraphs. Maybe tell me what that picture shows. There's a picture on that page. Anything you want. We shouldn't always pick the first paragraph to summarize. Try to think of something that we don't already know from our science book that is pointed out on the website. 3 to 5 sentences, guys. Not cut and paste. Put in your own words. You can use some of their words, but kind of say, this journal entry is about sand. Let me tell you how sand is formed. It is ground up rocks and shells. The shells might have had a crab at one time. The crab died and the shell got crushed up and it became sand. Now, that's a good summary because you used your imagination. But don't use my imagination, use yours. Okay, online learners, good luck with that. And we are going to sign off for today. And we got about 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Seems like a good time. We will see you tomorrow. Everybody say goodbye.